Is Abraham Lincoln a president?
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was just a whatever publical figure.
The receipts always do. So today we're going to be doing something a little different just because I realized that I am in a very kind of spicy mood, and there's one topic that okay, so I started filming my reaction to what she eats on day 8 of her diet, and halfway through I realized that like a quarter of the video was just me ranting about this one topic, and it doesn't really necessarily apply to just that video, so I wanted to make it its own thing. Not to mention the fact that yesterday I posted an hour-long video, and so today I wanted to post something that was a little shorter for people who like to have an option of length of a video or whatever. So today's going to be just a rant about one topic, and that's what we're doing. Pre-warning you right now before we get into it, this is going to come across as very pro-Amber, and I will talk about that at the end. I am not an Amber support channel. I want to make that very clear. I do not like her, and I don't want to be associated in a positive light with her, but this has kind of gone a little too far in my opinion, so I want to talk about it. So this is the comment that I'm mostly going to be referring to today, and it was a comment that was left on one of my videos, and it says, all of her food is processed except for the lettuce, which is contaminated. Regarding the lettuce being contaminated, if you're not aware, there is like a foodborne illness right now. That's probably the wrong terminology, but basically what I know right now is that people are saying, especially lettuce, but really with all produce, make sure to like wash it super, super thoroughly, because there is a little outbreak of a very bad stomach bug that is basically being pinned down to probably lettuce. And it's, I think, mainly in Michigan or something, but there's reports of it being like spread out to like 31 different states. So if you're not from the States, it's kind of a big-ish deal over here. So that's what they're talking about with the lettuce being contaminated. And then the first part, obviously, her food being processed. Like, you know what processed food is. So here's my issue. I just don't understand what the expectation of Amberlynn is. You guys know, because she has said it herself, she has had times where she is ordering DoorDash like 3 to 4 times a day. She said that she had done that for a very, very long time. So finally, we're seeing her start to cook her meals at home, which is something that people have been advocating for a very long time, being like, hey, you don't need to eat out. You don't need DoorDash. Like, eating out once a week is the absolute maximum, and really you shouldn't even be doing that. Finally, she's doing what we asked her to. She is eating primarily at home. Yes, she went out to eat at the Chinese buffet, but I would argue that going out to eat once a week is pretty standard in America. I think the buffet was a bad choice, and I'm not co-signing what she did with that, but I am saying that I know a lot of people go out to eat once a week. I don't think that Amber should be doing that, but I'm just saying, like, let's just put that to the side as something that normal people do. Because that is still going from 21 meals eating out to 1 meal in a week. So still an improvement. Then, even though she's cooking at home, the goalpost has changed to like, oh my gosh, you're eating so much processed food. And like, I've even had people arguing that fruit has like too much sugar in it. Like, Amberlynn has literally eaten freeze-dried ice cream in a fruit roll-up. Maybe the clementines and grapes are not an issue. Like, yes, I understand that there's sugar in that kind of food, obviously, but like natural sugars is different than non-natural added sugars, if that makes sense. So like, I don't really care that she's having fruit with all of her meals. Like, it's fine. She has a sweet tooth, and she is choosing the healthier option of the two. For her to be eating majority at home, I don't care if she's choosing convenience foods. And honestly, the convenience foods that she is choosing are pretty reasonable. Chicken patties, chicken sausages, that stuff is fairly low calorie. Yes, I know that extremely like ultra processed food is not good for your health. I understand that. However, I'm just saying that going from eating out to eating ultra processed food is a step in the right direction. It certainly is not more healthy for her to be eating restaurant food than it is for her to be eating ultra processed food. Besides, let's not take out the fact that just because you're eating out doesn't mean that you're getting like a meal made from scratch. Like, she was ordering from Panera. I used to work at Panera. I can tell you right now, the macaroni and cheese is like literally from a bag. The soup is from a bag. That stuff is not like, I'm not like in the back of Panera chopping up carrots for our stew or whatever. Like, it is literally made in a factory, shipped to us, thawed, heated up, whatever, and then served out to the customer. So let's not act like like eating out and eating ultra processed food is not essentially the same thing in a lot of cases, because she's not picking like high quality restaurants. So to me, it's like, why even bother bringing up the fact that she has a lot of processed foods, especially because she is eating them with foods that are not hyper processed. Like, I'm going to talk about her day 8 of eating, so you guys might just have to like take me up on what I'm saying, because this is just the most recent example. And like I said, I didn't want to cut the whole video in, because when I tried reacting to the video, I just realized that it was too ranty. I didn't want it to be like that. But day 8 of her eating, for breakfast, she has an apple, she has an egg, she has some salsa, which I'm assuming she did not prepare herself, so that could be considered processed. And then she has a chicken patty, which is definitely ultra processed. That being said, like, if we look at that versus what she would get from a restaurant, I don't think that that is that bad. We remember her breakfast order from Starbucks. She got a huge frappuccino that was like 500 calories of just sugar. And then I think she had like an egg bite and 2 vanilla scones or something like that. So clearly, yes, she is having processed food in her breakfast, but it's not as bad as what she was ordering out. Then we look at her lunch, and she has another one of those taco salad bowl things with the, not cream cheese, cottage cheese on top. And that is pretty much unprocessed. Like, she has the cottage cheese, which is like minimally processed. She has ground beef that I believe she cooked from scratch. And then she has, I think, potatoes that are also cooked from scratch, and then the bed of lettuce. We're going to get to the lettuce a little bit later, but like, none of that is really like processed. You know what I mean? Like, the cottage cheese does go through a process to become cottage cheese, but it's not the same as like something that has like a shit ton of additives in it, depending on what brand she gets or whatever. Then we go on to dinner, where she says she made her own chicken salad. I know that's up for debate. People think that she has bought the chicken salad from Costco. I've seen that, but she claims she made it herself and that she's got a recipe coming. So I'm going to take her word for it on this one instance. If she made it herself, then that's all fresh. I would assume she used a like rotisserie chicken and did not cook the chicken herself, just because I know Amber. So, okay, I guess you could say that the mayo is processed, because I'm sure she put mayo in it, and that the chicken's like a little bit processed, depending on like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like, sometimes it's hard for me to tell what people consider processed, because if you're getting a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, it's probably not that processed. Like, they're literally just cooking it and it goes bad fast. So I don't think there's like a lot of additives in that, but I don't know if people consider that to be like super processed. But either way, so like there's like a little bit of processed stuff in the chicken salad. And then she has the popcorners, which of course those are ultra processed. But that was her dinner. And we've seen before what's like her favorite dinner in the world that she used to get multiple times a week when she could. The orange chicken from the Cheesecake Factory. I mean, I think there was a week she went 3 times in a week, and that was an hour-long drive to get there. So imagine, now that she's doing DoorDash all the time, how frequently she's having meals like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I would think that the chicken salad with the pop chips is better than going out and getting like these really, like, you know, she eats like a lot of Chinese food and stuff like that that's like very greasy, fried, that kind of thing. So, you know, and I'm not trying to pick out like the worst possible example. It's just, I don't know exactly what she was eating. I'm just giving examples of things that I know that she has eaten. We've seen her order in Chinese takeout a million times. We know she talks about going to P.F. Chang's. We know she talks about going to the Cheesecake Factory. So like, all of those are going to be higher in calories. And then for her snack, she had peanut butter, which again, processed, but it's not like what I would consider to be like ultra processed. And then she had a little bit of hummus and carrots and naan bread. So like, yeah, you know, the naan bread is probably technically considered ultra processed. I don't know what brand she gets, but most bread that you buy off the shelf of a store is considered ultra processed because they put a lot of preservatives into it. And then I'm sure that the peanut butter and hummus are at least considered minimally processed, if not ultra processed, depending on like brand and everything like that. So I hope that all kind of like makes sense and you can see the point that I'm trying to make. Like, yes, she is eating a lot of foods that are at least minimally processed and several foods that are ultra processed. That being said, the American diet is like typically 55% made up of ultra processed foods. So I don't think she's eating that far off of the standard American diet, which I understand is not the ideal diet. But I am saying that for her to go from eating out all the time to at least matching the American diet, if not being a little bit better than the American diet, depending on the day, I think that's pretty good. Now, to touch on the lettuce, like, that was the part of this comment. I probably would have just brushed it off if it was not for that. But that was the part of the comment that I was like, dude, okay, again, what do you want from her? Like, okay, so you don't want her to have ultra processed foods. So then she decides she's going to have like fresh produce and you're going to be like, oh, there's like a outbreak of cyclospora, so that's not a good option either. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, there comes a time when it's like, okay, we do have to give it a little bit of a rest. She's not going to go from eating out all the time to eating a perfect, all whole foods, like cook everything from scratch kind of diet. That's just not realistic. So I'm really sorry if this rant was annoying for you or you completely disagree with me and think that she should just be perfect, but that's just my personal feelings on the matter. Is like, I don't like her either. And that brings me back to my original point. I am not a stan for Amber. And I think the majority of you guys know that, to be honest, but I have gotten 2 or 3 people over the course of me making these videos be like, oh, you're too soft on her. If you think I'm too soft on her or that I'm an Amber account that's like undercover or whatever, then first of all, I don't know what to tell you. Like, maybe this just isn't the channel for you. There are channels out there that just shit all over her. Like, go watch Jordy. You know, he can be very, very mean to her. If you just want to see somebody be super rude to Amberlynn, go to Jordy. And I'm not even knocking his channel. Like, I do think he's funny at times, but he, to me, is like he does not give her a benefit of the doubt on anything. So if you think that I'm way too soft on her, go watch Oh Lordy, It's Jordy. His content is great. He live streams frequently. Sometimes people go to him for like the first ever interview that they do or whatever. Like, I don't know how he gets so many interviews. He would be a great channel for you if you think that I am like way too soft on Amber. But the thing is that like, I don't like to change my opinion just to make you guys feel like I'm not a pro Amber channel. Unfortunately, the way that the world is, it's not black and white. It is shades of gray. And so there are going to be times where I feel like the common narrative against Amberlynn is too harsh, and I don't personally want to contribute to that. And this whole like processed food and sodium thing is something where I'm like, what did you guys think was going to happen? Like, I saw a couple of videos where the thumbnail and title was like, can you believe how much sodium Amberlynn is eating? Yes. Yes, I can. Like I said, she's been eating every meal out for like a long time. Do you know how much salt and butter they put into food that's made at a restaurant to make it taste good? Of course she's going to be overeating on salt. Are you kidding? Like, I don't know. Like, that's all I'm saying. I hope that all makes sense. I don't want to start like going in circles on this. I'm just saying that like, I understand that there's a lot we can say about her diet not being the healthiest, but if we believe what she's put on screen, which I've already told you guys my take on that, I know that it is unlikely that she is showing us everything that she's eating, but it is more fun to assume that she is showing the truth. And then if receipts come out later that she was lying, we'll touch on that then. But it is more fun to just live in the delusion that she is only eating what's on screen. And if that's the case, I don't think she's eating so much processed food. I think it is within the realm of normal for an American diet. She is just now at 35, learning how to cook for herself, learning how to use the same ingredients to make like meals throughout the week, learning how to grocery shop properly. Like, as far as what we've seen her publicize, this is the most sustainable diet I have ever seen her on. I still don't think she's gonna make it. Before you guys like come at me for that in the comments, I still do think that the tide is going to turn, especially now that she's come back onto YouTube. I think that a lot of this diet stuff was just like basically PR moves for when she came back to YouTube. But I'm just saying that as far as what we have seen on camera, which is all I have to go off of, I don't live in Amber's walls, as she likes to say, her diet's not that bad. So I don't know why we are like coming out here making shit up about Amber. Like, oh my God, can you believe how much processed food she eats? She eats about the same as a regular American person. Like, let's be so for real. There is so much stuff to say about Amberlynn that is like valid, not even just critique, but like concern, where I don't feel like picking her diet apart to this level is necessary. Like, if you guys want to talk about the things that she's said about Casey, the things that she has done to Beck, the way that she has treated people in her life, the relationship dynamic she has going on with Emily, we can talk about that all day long, and you will see that I am not an Amber supporter, that I think that she has done some really messed up stuff, not only to the partners in her life, but also to the pets in her life. Like, I don't think there is a single relationship this woman has that is worth defending at all. But to say that she's eating too much processed food is like, okay, come on, like let's reel it in a little bit. The last thing that I'm going to say is that with all of that being said, say whatever you want in my comments. I still like to hear what you guys have to say. Even if you guys think that she's eating a shit ton of like salt and processed food or whatever, and you want to point it out, it's really not that big of a deal to me. Like, I don't mind seeing that kind of stuff and interacting with you guys in the comments. The part that is a big deal to me is just like, I don't want to have to entertain this in terms of being like, I don't want to be ignoring it in the comments, but I don't want to be like responding to every single comment like this, like, oh no, that's not how I feel like this. So feel free to leave whatever commentary you want on this video, especially. Like, let me know if you think this is the worst take ever and I should delete this video. Genuinely, I don't know, because I feel like I'm going crazy, because this is just like the widespread, what everybody in girl world seems to be talking about right now is like how much processed food, how bad her diet is, blah, blah, blah. And I just don't feel that way. And so maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I am really living up to the Delulu in my name. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm not going to loop anymore. If you guys made it this far, you already know. Stay Delulu, but not that Delulu. And I'll catch you in the next one for our regularly scheduled content.